Hi, Filipina wife abroad here. Welcome back. Earlier this week, I was watching the ending of The Good, the Bad, in the Ugly movie. You can see the movie poster behind me. It got me thinking about my realizations and perceptions associated with the Filipina and American relationships that I've developed as part of my journey. So I decided to make this video using the theme of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and break my thoughts into those three categories. So let's get into it. The first is the bad. There are a lot of people here in the US that have some pretty strong opinions about Filipinas who marry Americans and migrate to the US. Some of the negative comments that I've heard is that Filipinas are gold diggers and only care about money. They're only looking for opportunities to escape poverty. They don't speak English and they want to work in the US so they can send money to their families. I'm sure that all of these situations occur, but I don't believe the majority of Filipino American relationships involve a gold digging Filipina or an opportunist only looking to escape poverty. However, there is some truth about the Filipino wanting to come to the US just to work and send money to her family. And here's another one which I fully don't understand. The comments regarding speaking English. Most people do not realize that there are more people who speak English in the Philippines than in Australia and Canada combined. I've never heard of a case where an English speaking person truly struggled to make their way in the Philippines because of their language. I do have a true story that happened to me regarding some of the ugly thoughts about Filipinas. My sister in law, who I love dearly and has been one of my closest confidants coming to the US, she was terrified that my husband, when he came to the Philippines to see me, was being conned and was likely to get kidnapped. She called and texted my husband multiple times during our dates, and I was really surprised at her level of concern. Keep in mind that my husband traveled extensively internationally for work, including going to the Philippines dozens of times, knowing hundreds of people who lived in Manila, and also having political and social contacts in the area. He knew Makati better than I ever will, and also the people at the hotel and restaurants we visited knew him by name. Yet my sister-in-law, who knew all of these situations, still worried that my husband was going to be taken advantage of by the Filipina. It's funny now, but it wasn't so funny then. Okay, guys, so the next group I want to talk about is the good. These are generally Western men, and they are thought of from the Filipino perspective as being good. They're good because they do save Filipino from poverty. They often help raise children from single Filipino mothers. They've been known to help support families in regards to education for younger siblings and also medical emergencies and some ongoing financial needs for the family. They're also often viewed as a ticket for the entire Filipino family's ability to eventually migrate to the United States. All of these statements are true. However, there are some men who have questionable intentions, thinking that once a Filipino comes to the US, they will become their own domestic helper, or they can treat them with less respect than they would treat any other women. It's been my experience, this is the exception and not the rule. I've found most men want to be a provider, the hero of the family, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of modern day relationship have denied many men the opportunity to be that provider, to be that rock, to be that role model they so long to be. And the Filipina and American relationship satisfies that need that so many men have. So the final category that I wanted to mention is the ugly. The ugly that I see all around me are the Western women. Not all Western women, of course. My family here in the US is absolutely wonderful. And I've met many gracious, friendly, and helpful women everywhere I've traveled. That said, I've also encountered many Karens in my daily life. A Karen is a Western woman who feels overly entitled and has the tendency to look down upon anyone that does not look or act like she does. So they are at the dog park, they are at a Walmart, also they work at the Department of Motor Vehicles, they shop at a mall, and in many instances, they are your neighbors. I'm not sure why there are so many Karens in the US, and I don't know why they think their behavior is appropriate, but it's a real thing. I have also noticed a huge number of US female teachers, social workers, or sometimes librarians that are arrested for taking advantage of teen and preteen students. I don't want YouTube to demonetize this video, so I have to be careful in the words I use. So, as a teacher myself for over 20 years, I never saw this behavior or heard of this type of activity in the Philippines. I'm now forced to have a discussion with my son when he starts schooling to make sure he knows what to do in case a teacher tries to take advantage of him. And also, I have noticed that this obsession with American women to be strong and independent, it seems to be the motto of whole generation of the women that they don't need a man. Feminism has run rampant throughout the entire social structure of the United States. And it's leaving men either lonely, settling for women who won't necessarily make good mates, or heading on a plane and going overseas to find a more compatible mate. I just don't understand and why so many Western women think that they're better off engaging with large numbers of sexual partners or growing old rather than finding a mate to share the life with and raise a family. So, just like at the end of The Good and the Bad in the Ugly movie, you have a Mexican standoff happening. You have these three groups of individuals trying to figure out what's best for themselves, who's the one they want to take with them, and who's the one they want to eliminate from the situation. Interracial relationships are not perfect. It really has to do with integrity of the two people in the marriage, and they're in a marriage for the right reason. There's nothing wrong with someone from the Philippines wanting to improve their situations and help others. There's nothing wrong with a Western man wanting to be a good provider who wants to make his wife happy by fulfilling her needs. As long as everything is done with love and transparency and not through manipulation and coercion, it can be a wonderful life together built on love and mutual understanding. Well, so guys, thank you for joining me to the end of this video. I really do appreciate you guys by giving this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. See you next week. Meanwhile, you can watch or check out some of my old videos. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you and bye.